What's up, everybody? Jared here with carbuzz.com, and today I am out in San Antonio, Texas to drive the brand new 2022 Ford F-150 Lightning. This is the all-electric version of Ford's best-selling F-150 pickup truck. I've already done a in-depth, deep dive walk around of this vehicle. So if you're interested in seeing all of the exterior styling, the interior, how practical it is, be sure to click on that video. I will include all the links and stuff in the description so you can't miss it. But I will go ahead and do that real quickly before we get it out on the road. So this is going to be an abbreviated version of what I cover in that other video. So let's get to it, starting with the power front, the power mega power frunk, I think they call it. Ford's naming is a little bit silly, but because there's no engine in here, you get this massive trunk area that can hold up to 14.1 cubic inches of space, 400 pounds. You've got a little bit of storage underneath. You can put your charging cable there. You do have some charge ports down there to charge up some devices in here. Ford was actually telling us that a disabled buyer who has one of these on order is going to put his electric scooter in there that he uses for mobility and charge it up while he's carrying it around in there. We do also have this handy cargo net as well. This is big enough to hold 2 golf clubs, which is super great, and this area is waterproof as well. Now, the styling is going to change depending on which trim you have. I should point out that we are driving the fully loaded platinum version of the F-150 Lightning, the most expensive one you can get, which is why we have this very nice contoured grille here. Other models will have sort of a different, more basic grille. We also have the nicest wheels possible here. Now, the F-150 Lightning looks pretty similar to a standard F-150 down on the side, save for this Lightning badge and the different tail lights here at the back. All F-150 Lightnings are going to ship with a 5.5 foot bed. There is no long bed option, at least not yet. The one we are driving has the power tailgate. It also has the Pro Power on board, which you can use to power a bunch of different power tools, like if you have a pressure washer or a jackhammer or something you're using on site, which is quite cool. I also really like how there is the ruler built into the tailgate here. As I mentioned, power tailgate here on this platinum trim. We've got the crew cab configuration is the only way you can get the Lightning. Massive rear seat because we have the platinum. You get really, really nice leather that I will show you up front. You also get a panoramic moonroof. You still get Ford's little key button here. Love that. That is a very useful feature. Of course, you can also open this vehicle with an app. We have these really nice heated, ventilated massage seats. This leather is fantastic on this platinum trim. We also have Bang & Olufsen speakers in the headrest here. Now, these are the lie flat seats. Let me go ahead and give you the wider angle on this as well. So I'm going to go ahead and tilt this seat as far back as it'll go, and you'll see that the seat bottom is going to do something interesting. It's going to level up a little bit, so it's going to raise up to make it a little bit more flat and a little bit more comfortable for you to lay back on. That's going to come in handy when you are charging this, which we'll talk a little bit more about how long that takes when we get it out on the road. Now, because we have the platinum, we've got pretty much every feature that you could possibly want in an F-150. They haven't skimped out on this all-electric model. It is just as nice as you'd expect. So push button start, firing up our 15.5-inch massive touchscreen here. I talk a little bit more about what this does in our full deep down walk around, so be sure to check that out. We also have a digital gauge cluster here, which is standard on all F-150 Lightnings. Blue Cruise is not standard, but we do have it here on the Platinum, so that is going to allow us to drive hands-free. I'll briefly talk about that when we get it out on the road. I can also mention that we have Ford's awesome table here, so the shifter folds flat, and then you can just fold this over and have this nice handy workspace so you can get a bunch of work done while you're waiting for it to charge. You can even power your laptop using these plugs here. And before we get it out on the road, I want to talk a little bit about the drive modes here. So if you click on this little F-150 here at the top. That's going to pull up our drive mode setting. So we have normal, sport, off-road, and tow haul. We'll talk a little bit about what normal and sport do out on the road. Off-road is obviously for off-roading. Tow haul is obviously if you're towing stuff. We'll talk a little bit more about the towing capacity as well. You can also fiddle with the one pedal drive. This will come to a complete stop when you take your foot off of the throttle. We also have a cool propulsion sound that we'll play around with when we get it out on the road. So without further ado, let's get moving. All right, so now it's time for the moment you've all been waiting for. Let's get the F-150 Lightning out on the road to see how it drives. And I'm first going to tackle the big issues that you probably want to know with an electric vehicle like this, meaning range, horsepower, charging, all that good stuff. So there are going to be two battery packs that you can get on the F-150 Lightning. You can get a standard range and you can get an extended range. So that's pretty easy to understand. So the standard range is going to produce 452 horsepower, which is a little bit more than Ford initially expected it would make. And it makes a whopping 775 pound-feet of torque. So to put that in perspective, that's about F-150 Raptor territory, just in the base standard range model. If you step up to the extended range, which is what we've been driving in this video, 580 horsepower. That's more than Ford's initial 563 horsepower estimate, but the torque stays the same at 775 pound-feet. Now, with so much power on tap, Ford says that the F-150 Lightning, this big boy that it is, will hit 60 miles an hour in just 4.5 seconds. And if that figure sounds familiar, it probably should, because that's about the same time it'll take a Ram 1500 TRX, which is supercharged, remember, to hit 60 miles an hour. And I just want to show you what that's like. We've got nobody behind me. We can see for miles back, so I'm going to just mat it. Actually, let's go ahead and put it into its sport setting first to see if that makes a difference. We've got the propulsion sound set to on. Ready? Oh my goodness. Wow. That is so quick. We've got that propulsion sound giving us a little bit of a rumble, making it feel like we are almost in like a gas engine vehicle. I can, of course, turn it off if I want. I think it gets a little bit louder in sport mode. I'm going to go ahead and take sport mode off because I don't love the regen function. So when you put it in sport mode, the steering is going to get a little bit heavier. The pedal mapping for the throttle is going to change, and I think the regen feels a little bit heavier. So we've got the propulsion sound on. I'll see if you can hear it. Not sure if it's coming through the mic, but I can definitely hear that humming. If I go ahead and turn it off, it's just a much quieter experience. It is crazy how smooth this drivetrain is, because when you drive an F-150 or pretty much any other truck, they have these big bulky transmissions that you can kind of feel the 1-2 and the 2-3 shifts, especially in Ford's 10-speed automatic. So the fact that this truck just doesn't have a transmission just means you can get this instant acceleration. It's so quick, it's so smooth, and unless you have the propulsion sound on, it's pretty much silent. So the acceleration is fantastic, and the range is quite outstanding too. So for the standard range model, you're going to be getting 230 miles, again, a little bit more than what Ford was initially estimating, and 230 miles I think is decent. It's not incredible, but that's why you can opt for the extended range model. So that maxes out at 320 miles, which is a really good figure. I mean, I think 320 miles is plenty for most buyers. Now, I should note that if you get this fully loaded platinum trim like we have, which is a little bit heavier with all of its bells and whistles and has bigger wheels, I think that is also a big part of it too. It's going to cut 20 miles off of that range, so you're only going to go 300 miles on a charge. And the reason for the difference between the standard range and the extended range is just battery pack size. You're still getting dual motors on either. That's why they both have so much torque. The standard range battery pack is 98 kilowatt hours, although Ford doesn't say how much of that is actually usable. And then this bigger battery pack that we're driving here is 131 kilowatt hours. Now, the Capability, this is still a truck after all, is still really good. You're going to get 7,700 pounds of towing in the standard range model, and then this extended range model will tow 10,000 pounds max, and you do have a 2,000 pound payload capacity as well. And I showed you the onboard scales, which are quite cool, so you can really take full advantage of that payload capacity. Now, we've also got pretty quick charging. This is not an 800 volt architecture car. It is 400 volt, meaning that you can charge at peak speeds of up to 150 kilowatts, which is pretty quick. Ford says that on 150 kilowatts, you should go from 15 to 80% charge in about 44 minutes if you get the smaller battery, about 41 minutes if you get the extended range, even though it's a bigger battery. I think that the extended range can just charge a little bit quicker on DC. On a level 2, which is you're probably interested in, using the Ford charge station that comes with the extended range battery, you should go from 15% battery to 100% battery in about 8 to 10 hours. So that's going to do your overnight charge just fine. And if you're on like a regular level 2, like 240 volt charger, it should take about 14 to 19 hours. So there is an advantage of using that charger that Ford is going to give you. It is going to make the charging experience a little bit better. So what else can I say about the F-150 Lightning? We do have one pedal drive. I have that activated now. It is true one pedal. Take your foot off of the throttle and it will bring you down to a full stop, which is quite nice. The steering feels very similar to what I've felt on pretty much any other F-150 I've driven, although because we've got all of those batteries mounted in the floor, I'm noticing just a little bit less body roll. I don't think that the Lightning is quite as maneuverable and as controlled as the GMC Hummer, despite that vehicle being much heavier. This does feel a little bit more like I'm driving a standard pickup truck, but I think that's by design. I think Ford really wants owners to step into this truck and feel like they're in any other F-150 they've ever driven, sans engine. The ride comfort is pretty good, right on par with the upper echelon of F-150s that I've driven. Still don't think this ride's quite as good as the Ram 1500 with its air suspension, but I'm not going to say anything negative about the ride. The one thing I will say, it's a little bit of a negative comment, although I want to spend more time with it, is Blue Cruise. So that's Ford's hands-free technology. I can't show it to you right this second because we're not on a designated 2-lane highway where I could use it, but it's basically the same as GM's Super Cruise, where on certain highways you can take your hands off of the wheel completely. I had a chance to try it briefly today in San Antonio, Texas, and I felt like I could just feel it pinging from left to right in the lane. I don't think I have the confidence in it that I had in GM's Super Cruise when I drove it in the Cadillac Escalade, although I really would like to spend a little bit more time with it. So that was the 2022 Ford F-150 Lightning, possibly the most anticipated vehicle of the year. So now it's time to figure out what it's going to cost you. The base Pro version, which comes with the standard range battery, it's basically the work truck version. So if you're going to use this for work purposes, I recommend you get that one. It's the cheapest option, starting at just $39,974 plus a $7,500 federal tax credit. If you want one that's a little bit more livable, you'll want to step up to the XLT model. That's going to cost $52,974, so big price increase there, but the XLT does get a lot of other extra features. Now, if you want to step up to the extended range model, gets you more power, more range. It is a huge price bump, but it comes with a lot more than just the bigger battery. You do get some optional packages with that too. $72,474 is going to be your extended range XLT. If you want the more luxurious Lariat trim, that starts at $67,474. I think that is a really nice way to go with it. $10,000 more if you want to get the extended range model, $77,474 total. Or you can get this platinum model that we've been driving. It is the Mac Daddy. It comes with the extended range battery, $90,874. It is by far the most expensive, but as you saw, it comes with a ton of luxury. Honestly, I'm going to go ahead and say that I think the Lariat is going to be your best deal. Choose whether or not you need that extended range battery to try and keep it relatively affordable. but I'm here to say that this F-150 Lightning is a revolution. This is going to change the way that a lot of buyers feel about electric vehicles, because there is now America's workhorse. The F-150 is all electric, and it's here to stay. I hope you've enjoyed this look at the 2022 Ford F-150 Lightning. For more videos like it, be sure to subscribe to the CarBuzz YouTube channel and ring the notification bell to be alerted of our latest videos. And if you want to read more about the 2022 F-150 Lightning, be sure to visit carbuzz.com.